Hi, and welcome to Vertex 103, Getting Started. It's about time, yes. This is the class outline. We will take a look at the project folder and the project file location. I'm going to show you how to contact tech support, request remote support. I'm going to show you how to find the online manual as well as offline help features within Vertex. Also, Vertex generates incremental autosave backup copies. I'm going to show you how to access these. We will take a quick peek into the project settings, as well as familiarize ourselves with Vertex's floating dockable windows and how to customize a workspace view. Finally, we'll take a look at the AI assistant and see how that can also be of help. So, without any further ado, let's go. All right, let's start by taking a look at the main menu. The File menu comes first. This is where you create new projects. For instance, an empty project would be a clean slate with all the pre-configured project items. Load projects, check out the sample projects that really are little tutorials curated by our solution experts, offering an insight into the most complex workflows. The next couple of items concern the Vertex network session and will be covered in a later video. And of course, we can also add content from the file menu, which will be featured in the next video. Let's open the project folder from the file menu and take a look at its contents. There is the project file with the file extension VXP, which stands for Vertex Project, and a data folder with various subfolders. All right, let's go back to the upper level because I wanted to mention that in case you should ever contact tech support and are being asked to send in your project file so the support team can take a look at it. Please keep in mind that this is the file you send into tech support, never the entire folder, as it might contain several gigabytes of data from the subfolders. Here, let me show you the several options of getting help and support. The first item in the Help menu shows you the shortcuts for the window panel that is currently in your focus. You can also use Shift plus F1. The second item opens your default web browser and goes to our web page for our latest online manual. And in case you don't have internet access, you can right-click any interface panel and choose Help from the Context menu. This opens a local text file shipped with every installer that brings you straight to the topic within the context of the window panel that is in focus. For instance, right now I could open the help topic for the Project Explorer, but if I right-click into the Playback Editor window, it'll guide me to a different help file associated with this new context, which is the sequence help file. All right, I'm going to close the manual reader and we'll show you how to submit a support ticket. In the Help menu, select Send Ticket, and your email autofills from your account information. And once you entered a subject and the body of your message, you can either send it immediately or save it to your desktop. And should our tech support team decide that it's necessary to give you remote support, you can also initiate that from the Help menu. This will open a third-party application called TeamViewer that is also shipped with every installer. And once you've granted it the necessary permissions, it'll generate an ID that you need to copy and mail to our support team for real-time assistance. Furthermore, the Help menu allows you to view the current log files or delete all logs. And it also displays the release version and build number of your Vertex product. All right, let's go back to the File menu because I want to take another look at our project folder. Right now, the project has been live for more than 5 minutes, so Vertex has generated a backup of the project file that is located in the Backup folder. By default, Vertex autosaves every 5 minutes and keeps 4 incremental backups. These files are named with a date and time stamp and use the .vas extension. In order to recover a backup, you need to copy that file into your project's root folder and rename it from .vas to VXP. And once you've confirmed the change, your backup becomes a valid project file. But in order to keep everything neat and clean in my project folder, I'm gonna delete this backup. If you want to adjust the interval or number of backups generated, you need to access the project settings by clicking on the gear icon here in the Project Explorer. And it'll open a second inspector window with all sorts of project settings. But I'm not going to bother searching through all the tabs here. Instead, I'm going to use the search box and the filter string to find me the autosave preferences. Here you can lengthen or shorten the autosave interval in minutes and also adjust the file count if you need less or more than 4 backup files in your folder. And by the way, this second inspector window is a perfect example of Vertex's flexibility in regards to the user interface. If I drag that window by its top bar, a docking compass appears in each panel of the user interface, and now I can dock it either to the left, to the right, top or bottom of the window panel that is currently in focus and highlighted blue. The floating compass follows the floating window until I let go of the dragging action by releasing the mouse button. I'm going to place it here underneath the other inspector. And while this docking action is resizing the window in a funky way, it allows me to show you that by clicking the middle mouse wheel button, you can scroll to any of the controls that are out of view or concealed due to some window resizing. And now I have 2 inspector windows lined up in the right column of my user interface. This can come in pretty handy when exchanging property values from one project item to another one. Notice how the project settings are pinned to the bottom inspector. The highlighted blue pin tells us that the pin to item mode is activated right now, and that means whereas the upper inspector's content changed to my selection, the lower inspector always pins the project settings into its focus. And you see also a little flash, a little red flash on the pin button when I try to select something else into that inspector. Therefore, the dynamic inspection is overridden until I deactivate the pin mode by clicking that pin button. The concept of floating windows does not only apply to newly created windows. You can also take existing windows, for instance, that library tab. If you don't like it positioned behind the Project Explorer, click and drag on the tab to make it a floating window and position it wherever you like. This time I'm going to release the window in the center of the docking compass so it becomes another tab in my center panel. Now that I've customized my workspace, I can save the current layout by creating a custom view. I'll go to Create in the main menu and select View. Now a View Manager appears in the Project Explorer, and whenever I want to return to my custom view, I can just double-click on the View tile in the Project Explorer. These views can also be accessed and switched between in the Workspace menu. Here you'll find 3 pre-configured views for a live show or for editing a show, or a control view for controlling Vertex. As soon as we click on one of the views, the user interface changes to that saved state. If you want to build your UI from the scratch, you can click on Clear View by going to the Windows menu, opening only the windows you need. You can then dock them anywhere you like in the usual fashion. From the Workspace menu, we can also return to the custom view we've just created 2 minutes ago. Click on Views, and here we'll find our View 1. All right, let's talk about a couple more items from the main menu. We've covered the File menu so far. Let's move to the Edit menu, where you can find commands like select all, copy, paste. You can lock the user interface to prevent people messing with your show while it's running. There's an undo section, a search filter for your entire project. The command always show prompts is luckily disabled and prevents dialog windows from popping up during your show on the main screen. Also, you can engage in a full screen control viewer or a full screen renderer for your output, followed by Vertex's auto start settings for your system and your project. And the last menu item is another access to the project settings in a second inspector. All right, let's move to the Create menu. From here, you can create all sorts of project items, such as additional compositing spaces or output streams, another sequence, scripts, you name it. And I'll give a detailed description of all these project items in the following videos. The same thing applies to the Windows menu. I mean, this is just an overview, right? But I want to leave you in this tutorial by showing you Vertex's AI assistant. In order for it to work, you need to be connected to the internet. And if you're already advanced enough to know what Vertex really is, you can ask it also complex questions or have the AI assistant proofread your script code. Let's ask it for some advice on the topic of our next video. In Vertex 104, we'll talk about content and compositing. And that wraps up Vertex 103, our Getting Started tutorial on the Vertex UI, help resources, and workspace customization. Thanks for watching. Class dismissed.